No, it was, you take it literally 1 week at a time, and it was exhilarating. You know, I walked onto the set and Stuart Craig had built this wonderful dark forest, which was spectacular and mad, and had this guy in a green suit and a big pole to play Grope, and I just loved it. And the one thing that shocked me was how long everything was taking to shoot, because I was used in television to shooting really quickly, and just turning everything around. Suavex lighting was very complex, and it would take like 2 hours to turn everything around. So I suddenly, the big shift for me was suddenly going, okay, I'm not going to shoot 4 minutes a day, I'm going to shoot a minute a day, or maybe even 30 seconds a day. So that was the hard thing, and that's a very different rhythm, you know, creatively. And I didn't ever imagine on that first day I would still be there 6 and a bit years later. That was like, it was about halfway through making Order of the Phoenix, I used to turn to my editor, Mark. I said, Mark, I know this sounds mad, but do you think we should just stay and do the rest? And he said, we better finish this one first. And unfortunately, after the first one, they said, look, would you like to stay? And I said, yeah, I'd love to. It's a really strange thing, because you would think it would be heartbreaking, but when I was working with Stuart Craig and we were looking at the model and we were working about which bits to break and which bits to blow up, we were like 2 9-year-old kids, because it's actually quite fun, and it's not a real world. It's a world that, you know, and when you've worked in it for that long, just creatively, you want to change it all the time. So it was actually kind of cool blowing it up, in a way. And I think even some of the actors, rather than coming in and going, oh my God, this is horrible, some of the actors just were bemused to begin with, but then thought, this is quite cool, you know. So it wasn't heartbreaking, it was actually quite fun. Yeah, it's lots of action, lots of spectacle, and we had to go out with a big bang, basically, and it needed to be big. And I always wanted the screen to feel twice as wide as we could possibly make it. And the 3D, I think, really, the 3Ds really enhanced that experience. I've done a 3D that's very deep, that creates added depth, or enhances the depth that we already have. And I think it makes the experience of watching the movie stronger. I think for the industry it'll be sort of perceived as a golden time in terms of jobs and opportunities and experience. The great thing about these films is it's given some people the opportunity to have an apprenticeship within a film industry. You know, the BBC used to train people coming through, and unfortunately that doesn't exist anymore. So Potter was like this mini film industry, and we had lots of people who started as runners who ended up as PAs, or ended up in the art department drawing, or ended up dressing sets, or you know, or ended up coordinating post-production. And that's probably, it's a great shame to see that go. And the ambition really is to maybe replace it with something of equal scale, which might not have the same popular reach, because I don't think it will ever make anything that is as globally as popular. I think it's sort of a once-in-a-lifetime thing. Joe Rolling's books are loved around the world. These films are followed, and fans have followed them with great faith. And I think, you know, I think they'll stay around for quite a bit. You know, they'll be there with those other iconographic bits of film history. You know, Dirty Harry with his magnum gun, and Jaws leaping out of the water, and the Wicked Witch of the East from, you know, and Harry will be there with his glasses and his wand, and it will be part of that iconography, you know, I think. Totally. I'm actually choosing a really lean, mean script, which is something that costs a fraction of what Potter cost to make, and which I need to really move quick. And I need to get an edge back again, and it'll be good for me creatively to do that. Not a green screen in sight.